Hello there. I hope you're doing great. Welcome to my channel. My name is Neeru and I am a spiritual healer. In this channel, I teach you how to heal your emotional body to fall in unconditional love with yourself again and how to resurface your most authentic, best version of yourself. And I will also show you when you heal your emotional body, you enhance or fuel your spiritual growth by raising your vibrations to match the frequency of all your desires. This makes you magnetic and you start attracting an abundant life, which is already your birthright. I am so excited about this video because in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my own healing journey with the intention to give you a step by step guide so that you can start your own healing journey too. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So, inner child healing, finding your true self again. So, whenever I mention healing, it is mostly inner child healing or emotional healing because sometimes we get wounded also in our adult relationships, right? So, in this video, I will not be talking about what is and why we do healing because I've already spoken about it in detail in my previous video. So, if you want to see and you want to know more about what is healing, I recommend you see my previous video. So, we're going to start with qualities that make up the foundation of healing. I call these pillars of healing. So, on the left, you can see there are some must have or prerequisites, and there on the right, there are nice to have, and we will develop as we go on our healing journey. Okay, now the first one is desire to be better, a sincere desire to change yourself for a better life. So we know, all right, where there is a will, there is a way. So if you do not have a desire to change yourself, you're somebody who likes to be in your comfort zone, then this is not for you. Because healing is going to force you to change yourself, and not just change yourself, it's going to transform your life entirely. Depending on your situation, it can be a complete 360-degree change. So it's a lot about change. So if you do not have a sincere desire to change yourself to improve your life, then this is not for you. Second, integrity. What is integrity? It's the quality of being honest even with yourself and taking accountability. So now that you have a desire to change yourself to have a better life, you cannot be in denial anymore. So if you're somebody who is in denial and is always justifying your actions and projecting on others and not seeing your own contribution to the situation, then also you cannot embark on this journey because this journey demands that you take accountability, you see your part, you be honest with yourself, you accept, okay, this is, no matter what others are contributing, this is what I am doing, this is what I can change. So you need to be honest with yourself and you need to start taking accountability. Is it? So the third prerequisite is self-reflection, ready to sit with pain instead of distracting or numbing it. This is going to be very important throughout the journey because a lot of pain and negative emotions are going to resurface so that they can be released and you can find your true self again. But if you don't understand the purpose of pain, that pain is has a very important purpose, and without pain we cannot learn anything. So life, whatever happens in our life, it does not happen to us, it happens for us. It depends on us, what can we do with the pain. Do we sit and crib? Do we throw a pity party? Yes, for some time. We are humans, yes. And you deserve it, it's absolutely fine. But there has to be a time where you stop doing that and you start to self reflect. That means you sit with your pain and listen to it. Let it do its job. Appreciate that it's come to take your attention to something that's very important. So instead of numbing and distracting yourself with things like partying and addictions and binge watching television, which we all do sometimes, and it's fine, but it's not okay if you're doing it as if you're doing it every time to bypass pain. So it's like that's why you are conditioned to do this every time you experience that kind of emotions, which actually is trying to help you. Pain is here to help us. It's not to scare us. Yeah. So that's one. And the other thing is numbing it. So distracting it and numbing it, both is a problem. So there are different ways of numbing pain. Apart from addictions, a very, I think you'll be surprised when I say this, but some healing, some self healing techniques like meditation, this actually can help you numb the pain because it can give you so much control over your mind that you can actually numb your pain. But what you're essentially doing is you're betraying yourself because you've just bypassed the pain which came to help you. So, self reflection, a very, very, very important quality as a prerequisite to start your healing journey. Okay, so next, let's start with the nice to have or the qualities that we will develop as a result of a healing process. The first one is self love. Sense of self worth coming from self and not from outside. So, self love depends on how much sense of self worth do you have, also known as self esteem, which affects your confidence. Pretty much the same thing, different words used to describe the same thing. And another thing I want to mention is your authenticity, is how authentically you express yourself or show up in this world is going to be directly proportional to the amount of self love you have for yourself. Now, the question is, how do I increase my self love? How do I increase my self worth? So, there are many ways of doing it. The first one, the way I started was I started participating in things that gave me joy, things that made me feel amazing. So, it was difficult because I was not doing it from a long time. So, I loved dancing and it gave me a lot of joy. So, go back to your talents and passion. That will help you see how amazing you are. Initially, maybe it's going to be difficult because you've left it from a long time, but start push yourself to go back to it, and then you will see your sense of self-worth increasing, your confidence increasing, and so your self-love. They're all interlinked, pretty much the same thing. Okay, the other way is healing, because healing, you start unraveling your emotions, all those traumas and conditionings and programmings, basically all of them. What they did to you was they distorted your view of yourself. They gave you opinions about yourself which is not even true, the opinions of others. So once you start unraveling and releasing all of them, you start seeing yourself from your own eyes, or even better, from the eyes of God. You see yourself the way you are and you love it. That's how there are two ways where you can develop your self love. Moving on, the next one is forgiveness. Understand forgiveness is a gift to self and set yourself free from hurt, resentment, or fear. So, healing is going to open a Pandora's box of lots of negative emotions. A lot of anger, resentment, hurt, and I don't know what not is going to come up, and nothing to be scared of because it's coming up to be released for good. But how do you release? For that, you need the quality of being able to forgive. Now, how? Healing is going to teach you, because when you heal, you understand your emotions, why they are in the first place, and you'll be able to understand the perspective of the people who caused you those trauma in the first place. You will be able to empathize with them because you will see that they did not know any better. They weren't even aware, or they're still not even aware that they are causing you trauma. That behavior of theirs, which developed as a result of their traumas, they don't even know that they're hurting us. Or they're not aware because they're not doing it intentionally. So, when you understand this through the healing process, you understand your emotions, so you understand others' emotions, you are able to replace the hurt and anger and resentment with compassion and love. Instead, you find yourself feeling sorry for them. So that's how you will be able to forgive. You will learn forgiveness. You will develop this muscle through healing. There's another thing I want to mention. It's a more of a spiritual perspective to forgiveness, but it's very important. This is the one that helped me more than just that, because even though we understand that, it's very hard to apply because every time something happens, the first thing that we tend to do is get angry. Now, the spiritual approach to this is the fight is not in flesh and blood. It is between principalities of good and evil in the spiritual world. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. It's something that is not very often talked about, but it's high time that we start exposing ourselves to this reality. It's the unknown, but it's something that governs our life the most. So we need to understand that we are all created in the image of God, perfect. But what happens is, as we grow up and we grow under a lot of influence, we start acquiring a lot of things. And the evil energies are always present. So they try to influence human beings and they want us to fight. They want us to blame each other, point fingers, and have separation. Okay. They want to create chaos. But God teaches us, shows us this truth, and sets us free that you do not need to judge the person. You need to be aware of the evil influence on the person. So you don't need to be angry on the person. You will be able to forgive the person for following wrong or being under a wrong impression, taking those actions. But at the same time, coming to the next point, at the same time, God also teaches us how to forgive but not forget. Very important. So that's forgiveness. Moving on to the next point, very important, embrace your darkness. Now, forgive but not forget. Stop being taken advantage of with healthy boundaries. Another very important thing to understand is setting healthy boundaries. So, you're able to forgive, right? In the healing process, you're able to forgive. But the person has not changed because they don't even know how you're behaving, how their behavior is affecting you badly, how their behavior is toxic for you. And even if they know, they might not be going through this healing process like you are, right? Because they have to be ready for change, integrity, and so many things. So it's important to not forget what happened or what behavior causes what emotions to you so that next time you experience the same situation you can decide what's best boundary for you. Do you want to avoid the situation? Do you want to speak up for yourself? Do you need to say no? Whatever it is, but you are doing this from a place of love this time because you've already replaced the emotion of anger with compassion. So you set healthy boundaries, which means you say no with love, not with rudeness, not by hurting others, not by, so that's what's happening in the world right now is I see a lot of people who are using unhealthy boundaries by being rude to people in the name of self-protection, in the name of self-love. So I love myself, so I'm just going to be rude and cunning and I'm just going to cut you off and so many things. Okay, so if you are coming up as rude, then there's some more healing to be done there because you've not been able to replace the negative emotion with the emotion of love. So that's embracing your darkness. And I also like to mention people, especially the good people, the righteous people, the people who are very caring and giving, they feel guilty when they say no, right? Or anybody, when you start saying no, you start feeling guilty, you're experiencing guilt. This is going to help. Your healing journey is going to help you because it will enhance your self love to the extent where you don't feel guilty about doing this, where you develop enough compassion and gentleness, kindness towards yourself that you understand that this is for your protection and you're coming from a place of love. So there's no need to be guilty. Yeah. All right. So let's move on. The next quality is alchemy or transmutation. So I know these technical words, they're more spiritual in nature, but what they essentially mean is you are able to appreciate the purpose of pain and learn to turn your pain into your power. So this is connecting back to self-reflection, where I mentioned how we need to appreciate pain and sit with the pain and not bypass it, so that we can convert it into our power, so that we can learn what it's trying to teach us and come out of it stronger than the previous version. So this conversion of pain into power, this transmutation, this is alchemy. So this is something that will develop as you go on your healing journey, and it's going to be so powerful, and very soon you will find yourself being a pro at it. This is going to really help in your healing journey. Okay, the next quality is emotional maturity. Understand emotions by unraveling your own emotional world, become emotionally intelligent and empathetic. So this is something that I think you can even understand yourself, because the self-reflection and the emotional unraveling that you will be doing, understanding your emotions, all of this is what is needed to develop self emotional intelligence. And emotional immaturity, intelligence, and empathy is all the same things. So once you develop emotional maturity, you are nothing but an emotionally intelligent person. And if you are emotionally intelligent person, that means you understand your emotions, so you understand other emotions. Because you basically understand emotions. That is why they say if you understand yourself, you can understand the world better. So this is how you develop the skill or the quality of empathy. You don't have to do a special course to develop empathy. You heal yourself, you find yourself back, and you have developed empathy in the process. All right, so now that we know all the qualities, we can now move on to the main section, which is our healing journey. What are the steps we need to take so that we can start healing? So let's get started. So this is a step-by-step guide, and in between you have all the steps. Okay, on the right hand side I have related all the qualities that you would need or you would develop in that particular step, and on the left hand side you have my story so that you can relate better and also be inspired. If I can do it, so can you. Let's get started. So the first one is you need to start questioning. So it's all about self reflection. Okay, you need to question yourself, what's bothering you. So, what was it for me? I was too conscious to go online and post my dance videos, fear of being seen. So, let me tell you, as a child, I was born with a God gifted talent of dancing, which came to me from my mother. Thank you, mom. I'm so blessed to have this passion and talent. So, as a child, I was not shy. I would not getting on stage, or I would literally wait for an opportunity to just jump and dance. I would love to show off as a child, and I didn't care what expression, what dress, my movements. I was least bothered. I would just have fun. Okay, so what was bothering me was I was not able to do that anymore. In fact, I had stopped dancing for over 20 years. If I and if, even if I did, I would be so conscious and it would get me really worked up. So that is what was bothering me. Next, so you need to question yourself, what is my contribution to the situation? And here you need integrity. You have to make yourself accountable. I'm sure you can understand now and you can relate because you've already understood these qualities. So you when you find out what is your contribution to the situation. So going back to my story, for me what was my contribution? It was me staying in my comfort zone, not pushing myself to face my fears. That was my contribution, right? I was just letting it be. I was not doing anything to change the situation. That was my contribution. The next step, identify your self sabotaging pattern. This is where you need to start self reflecting. It's also called shadow work. Forget about the jargons. It's basically you need to sit with yourself and question yourself and find out, okay, if me staying in my comfort zone is a problem, why am I doing this? Why am I not doing anything about it? Others' opinions matter too much. People pleasing, self critical, perfectionism, lack of self worth or confidence. There's needing validation from others. Wow, that's a mouthful. So, this is what is going to happen, right? So, when you unravel one problem, something that's bothering you, you're going to come across many patterns or many traumas, many conditioning and programmings are going to be interlinked, right? So, for me, dealing with one problem helped me heal so many things, because here you have what you have: lack of self-worth, you have people pleasing, self-criticism, needing validation from others. There's just so much. Okay, there's so much that I could heal by healing one problem. So you need to find out what is it that is stopping you. So for me it was I was frozen, or if I did, I would really be very worked up because all of this mattered to me. Next, you understand why and how these patterns developed. Recall the incidents and identify the people responsible. I know it's difficult, but this is something that you need to do. And I did it. If I can do it, you can do it. Only if you do it will you be free. Subject. So I understood what was, what happened. I sat with myself, and no matter how painful it was, I found out. I found out the reason. Then why do I do this? Why do I care about others? Why do I care about others' opinion? I want to dance, I dance. Why am I so self critical? How did I even become like this? So, after thinking and thinking and waiting for answers, finally I got this answer. I was subjected to criticism and mocking in childhood for being different by loved ones. I know. So, all the trauma that we go through is mostly from family and friends or our caregivers in our childhood. And it is not to put fingers at them, it's not to blame them because we've already learned forgiveness, right? So let's understand here what was happening with me. So in my childhood, I used to be a very different person. So I had very odd likes and interests. So being a girl, I was very tomboyish. I had boy cuts most. I think till class 8, I had short hair, boy cut, and I loved watching Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee movies and all, those kind of movies. I was very fond of martial arts. I wanted to learn kung fu, and I wasn't happy with just normal skating. I wanted to do skateboarding and inline skating. I was into learning instruments, guitar, which is now a very normal thing, but then it wasn't. It was still very different. And I would wake up early in the morning and go alone for morning walks as early as 4 a.m. I would wake up early and the only person in the house to watch um, pranayam sessions and do them on my own. So I had very odd taste as per the society because I was different. And that led to a lot of mocking, basically people passing comments. They don't mean any harm, but those comments, they don't realize that those comments have, when repeatedly used, they have a serious impact on the child's opinion of themselves, is how they look at themselves. So initially it will not do anything, but if it's a constant pattern, it's going to start affecting the way the self worth, the sense of self worth of the child. So that's what happened with me, because even though the criticism and the comments were not directly towards my dance, but it was still affecting me overall, and so it affected my dance. Okay, so now I understood why these things happened and who were the people responsible. And this is where you develop emotional maturity. When you try to understand your emotions, why these emotions happen, why you behave like this. So you're basically understanding emotions in itself. It's not about just your emotions, you understand emotions. So now the next step is try to be in their shoes and understand why they did that. So this is where you need to release those emotions, because now that you've understood what will happen, you will be very hurt, right? That your own parents, your own family, your siblings have done this to you. And then it's going to be very painful. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be painful. But we've already understood the purpose of pain. So if you're going to sit with it, you're not going to distract or bypass our pain. So difficult at first, but I finally saw they went through the same upbringing and did not know any other way. They didn't know anything better. They were not even aware of how harmful the behavior was to me. They were not aware. This is what we've already understood. So I understood this. And when I was able to, it took me some time. It will take you some time, okay? But when you understand this, it will be like an aha moment. And you will be like, okay. And you will have this, compassion and love and understanding for them. And so you will be able to do the next step, which is you need to forgive and release the hurt and resentment, replace it with understanding and compassion. So we've already discussed this. I'm not going to spend any more time on this. But the only thing important here is you need to forgive yourself too. As a child, or at that time, you will have some anger towards yourself too, because you will be like, why did I let them do this? Why didn't I stand up for myself? So many things you will have. You will have this feeling. So you need to understand yourself also. You need to be kind to yourself that you didn't know anything better than, right? So there's no way you could have protected yourself. So you need to forgive yourself too. The next step is, okay, my story. Understanding their patterns set me free, and instead of anger and resentment, I felt compassion and sorry for them. Now that I had released the pain, I had grown enough self love or confidence to start pushing myself for first video. I finally faced my fears. Oh, I still remember. It was still tough, but at least I had developed enough self-love and confidence that I literally pushed myself. I think it took me 2 weeks of a lot of preparation, but then I finally did it. It was an amazing feeling. Amazing. Next step. Forgiving doesn't mean that behavior is okay. So, with awareness and no codependency, means depending on others' validations, next time say no. Set boundaries with love, not ego, which basically means setting healthy boundaries, not unhealthy boundaries. So, I've already explained all of this, so I'm not going to spend much time of this. Just listen to my story. So, what happened was I was doing all of this in isolation. But then it so happened that my parents started visiting me during this healing journey, and I was literally like, oh god, how am I going to face them? And it's going to trigger my wounds again, and it's going to jeopardize my healing journey. But then I was like, I had to face it anyways, because I like, okay, there is some purpose behind this too. I had the understanding by then that there is a purpose behind everything, so I took it in the right spirit. So next time when I faced similar comments or conversations or situations, I spoke up or I avoided the situation altogether. So what I did was, the second video took me a month to release because she was there. My parents were there. So the moment they left, that very day, I released my second video. I know, I love you, mom. It's not about you. You're amazing. You're such an inspiration. So that's what these our family. They love us. They're amazing. Is they are dealing. They have their own baggage. That's what they say, right? And unfortunately, they are not exposed to such healing uh, knowledge and process like we are getting this opportunity in today's world. So yeah, that's it. Congratulations. You started healing one or more of your inner child wounds and rewiring your emotional body to respond in a more authentic manner next time. That's what I did. The next time I faced similar situations, I was able to respond in a way that I really felt inside. That is what is being authentic, right? So we just need to remember that this journey is spiral in nature. So even though you find that you have healed one of the wounds, you will see them resurface again and again. So it's basically, you have to think of it like this, that you are training a muscle, right? You're learning a new skill. So you're not going to be expert in the very first time, right? You need practice. You need practice. So what universe does is, when you show this eagerness to heal, universe is going to make sure that you come across situations where you get that practice, so that you can become expert one day. So even though it feels like it's coming up again, don't be scared. There's nothing to be disheartened that, oh, I did my healing but I'm feeling these emotions again. This time you're going to do better. It's a practice, and slowly you're going to be so expert, it's going to be second nature. You're not Those emotions are not going to come up anymore. Okay. So I'm just kind of depicting my journey here, where I started with my first video, which was totally choreographed, a lot of practice. So I was still quite conscious, but at least I was able to start. Okay. And the second video, there's another story to this, is when I was not able to do this in a choreographed way, because the universe wanted me to completely release. So the second practice, the net practice for me, was get even better. So in the childhood, I was very spontaneous. I would never practice, never ever. So, and if I ever choreographed a group dance, I would forget the steps. I still remember, it's so funny, in my school days. So then I realized, it was sort of like, why I can't do this second video. Then I realized that I'm not supposed to do it this way. I'm supposed to heal, because I'm doing this for healing. I'm not doing this to get popularity or compete in dancing skills, because I didn't even have any professional training till date. So it is not about that. It's about my healing journey. It's about me pushing myself, practicing every time to become the true version of me the way I was born. So the way I was born was being spontaneous. So the second video, it's non-choreographed. It's just on the go. It's spontaneous. And from there on, it's just been a spontaneous journey, except maybe your trends here and there. And In this journey, I found my purpose. When I started unraveling, this is something very important. So when I started unraveling my emotional world, and I started growing self-love to an extent when I became so authentic, and now I'm completely healed, which means I'm absolutely authentic most of the time or all the time, that I slowly started understanding what is the purpose of my life. It is so all this thing that I went through, I learned healing the hard way, was so that I can give you this message, so that I can share this message and teach you how to heal in an easy way. So when you start healing your emotional world, you start finding yourself back, you also start finding everything related to your true version. You find your purpose. You have no idea how much potential there is only by emotional healing. Okay, that's it. It is not rocket science. It is something that we are all meant to heal. So we are all designed to do this. Don't let anybody talk you out by saying that this is not your style. You can't do this. But what was so different in, it's just asking questions to yourself, sitting with yourself. It's something that everybody's designed to do. The process is simple, but it takes a lot of courage and perseverance. There's only one final thing that I want to mention is stop going after personality development programs in hopes to change your life. No, they are good for whatever they're doing, but don't expect them to change your life or transform your life drastically, because that is working on your outer world. It's not working on your inner world. For a drastic transformation in life, you need to change your inner world, because we all know our outer world reflects our inner world, right? So how do you change your inner world is through emotional healing. Now, I also like to mention that there are other healing modalities like EFT tapping, Reiki, and many other such healing modalities which are very good, helpful. I myself use Reiki, but you should be mindful, you should be aware that it will not help you develop these qualities like self love, maturity, emotional maturity, empathy, the capacity to forgive, embracing your darkness, and all of these qualities, authenticity. That's not going to be developed unless you sit with your emotions and you do your healing journey. Okay, so it's not easy in the sense that it takes a lot of courage. So if you need help or are feeling called to work with me, you can get in touch with me with information in the description below or in my channel bio. So until next time, remember you are amazing just the way you are. So love yourself, be gentle, be kind with yourself in this healing journey, and happy healing. See you.